me to share a brilliant business model where you actually have 4 areas of income streams that we have created. One is on the PGX testing that we just spoke about. Another is toxicology, annual wellness visit, and our most brilliant billing program that we just implemented. So let me quickly go through this. Our PGX testing that we just spoke about, as you can see, we have different groups of representatives that we allow to come into the company. And as I mentioned at the beginning of our presentation, we are very legally compliant. You know, when you're working with doctors and Medicare and insurance companies and reimbursements and labs, you want to be very careful what you're doing. And we're very proud that we take a lot of precautions. And to that point, we have created groups of representatives depending on their background. So a CR stands for Certified Rep. So as you join our company as a representative, we're going to ask you to go through some hoops, very simple hoops, but that helps us to determine your background and your experience level. So those of you that come from the medical space in some capacity, perhaps you've been a medical device rep, a pharma rep, maybe you're a retired doctor or nurse. Bottom line, what we're looking for is, do you have the experience level to clearly present the program to a doctor? That's really the bottom line. So let's assume all of you on this call become certified reps tomorrow. Simply means that you now have our green light to go talk to doctors about the PGX test. And let's say you talk to Dr. Bob, and Dr. Bob gets it. And according to Google, an average practice out there in the U.S. has about 2,500 patients. And let's say over time, and let's say over a year, Dr. Bob tests 40% of his patients, and that round number would be 1,000. 40% of 2,500 is 1,000 patients that he tests. And let's say that our lab gets reimbursed on 500 of those. And as you can see at the bottom of the slide, our average reimbursement that the lab received from insurance companies was about 1,000 net. Medicare pays lower than that, but we pay you on a percentage. So just using simple numbers here, you get 20% of that 1,000 or $200, and on Dr. Bob's production of 500 out of the 1,000, your income in this illustration would be $100,000. 200 times 500 tests that are reimbursed is $100,000 to you. Very serious income for you doing, frankly, very little, but setting up the doctor, supporting the doctor from the standpoint of anything that you could do to help out. Now, many of you on the call might say, well, Sunil, this is amazing, but you know what? I don't have any background in talking to doctors. Well, first of all, I thank you for that self-reflection, and I thank you for helping us do the right thing. So what we're going to do with you is put you under the RR category. That is our referring representative. You're going to have a very important but a very limited task, and that is to set an appointment with a doctor that you know. Maybe your next door neighbor is a doctor. Maybe your best friend's a doctor. Maybe you know a doctor at church. Our certified trainer, our CT, will be linked with you. They will do the presentation work. They'll answer the doctor's question. They'll help to start the doctor up by setting him up on a one-page simple startup doctor setup. The lab will send the test kits, Federal Express kits. All of that is paid by the lab. Doctor doesn't pay for that, nor do you. And for that example that we just shared, you would earn $50,000 instead of $100,000. Now, you do that only for 3 accounts. So you set up 3 accounts with a certified trainer. Those 3 accounts start testing. And as long as the trainer feels you're competent to go out and do it on your own, you can become a CR. Now, by the way, many of you on the call here today, because of your experience and backgrounds, you also may want to become a CT as well, because there's additional income stream for you in helping what I just described for referring representatives. Now, very quickly, you see another set of numbers on this slide, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 10. Another brilliant component of our compensation model is the ability for you to build a sales team. For those of you that understand the power of leverage, very similar to the real estate industry, financial planners, insurance, in fact, even pharma reps. You know, pharma rep walks in, sets up a doctor, he or she earns a commission, their manager earns a commission, their regional manager earns a commission, so does a senior manager, so on. So we've elected to do the same thing. So please don't complicate this any more in your minds than you have to. It's very, very lucrative. It's frankly one of the most brilliant business models in the business world because, again, it gives you the power of leverage. You know, J. Paul Getty, the billionaire in the oil world, once said, I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts than 100% of my own. And that's the genius of this model. So as a very quick example, if you brought me on board as a representative, I'm your best friend, I'm your next door neighbor, and I came on board because you introduced me to the company, and I go out there and set up Dr. Bob in our previous example, I would make the $100,000, but you would make $50 on each one of those 500 that our lab was reimbursed, or $25,000 just on my Dr. Bob's account. But what if I had 10 of those accounts? In our example, that would be 25,000 times 10. So you get the point. And we go even beyond that. As you come on board, we'll certainly train you in our compensation model. But those of you that have no interest in creating a sales team, that's fine as well. I believe that's a serious mistake on your part. But here's the other part of our business model where you don't have to. Just go out and set up doctors. Set up 10 doctors. Maybe it takes you 30 days or maybe it takes you a year. And using some conservative numbers here, again, using the 40% of the patients that each of those doctors test over time. And I'm even being more conservative here, saying that the lab only gets reimbursed on 20%. So you can see the potential that is on the table for you on this PGX testing. Now, as lucrative as PGX testing is, please keep in mind that this is paid one time because this test is a one-time test. However, the second area, and really a very lucrative area for you, is toxicology. The same doctor you set up on PGX, because of your relationship, hopefully you can get that doctor to also allow you to do the toxicology for them. The nice thing about this is that a lot of patients require toxicology on an ongoing basis. Some patients require it on a daily basis. Some require it on a weekly, every 2 weeks, every month. You get the point. And every time the doctor does a toxicology test, you're getting paid a commission. And again, we'll teach you all of this as you join our company. So here's a quick example of setting up 10 docs that are doing toxicology with you. Again, a huge potential. Let me transition into another area. This is very, very important because there's significant dollars for you, but more importantly, there's significant dollars for your doctor. You may or may not be aware of this, but in today's world, physicians' incomes are on the decline, so they're very much open to ancillary income. On the first two, PGX and toxicology, it is against federal law for the doctors to earn any commission from the tests. Of course, they earn their normal billing for seeing patients, but they cannot earn money on the tests themselves. The annual wellness allows them actually to earn dollars. You see, this is a program that was actually rolled out by Medicare in 2011. It was for 50 million of their patients, Medicare patients, that they wanted these patients to go through this annual wellness with their doctors. The problem with this program was that the paperwork was so cumbersome that most doctors in this country elected not to implement it. Well, at MedXPrime, we're very excited because we actually teamed up with two of our friends that we've known for a number of years, and they elected to take this program into the electronic world and keep it very simple for the patient and the doctors. So what happens now is that the patient walks in, the receptionist, the MA or the PA or the doctor themselves sits down with the patient and goes through this very simple 30-question questionnaire on the tablet. And after that, they come up with a game plan. And for that, Medicare reimburses $175 the first year. And the patient can have this done every 11 months. Now, of that $175, the doctor gets to keep $135 of it. So let's say you set up Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob does 5 of these a day. That's very simple. 20 workday month. He just earned $13,500. 100 a month times 135 is $13,500. That is huge, significant income. That's an annual income of $162,000. And that also triggers additional income, as you can see, on an average of about $300 because of that annual wellness exam. For you, the representative, you get paid $12 on each one, or in this example, $100 a month means $1,200 for you. Our next area, this is extremely important for you and your doctor. We're very excited that Financial Halo MedXPrime has actually teamed up, partnered up with our business partner, Business Advisors MD. And in fact, as you can see, Cash Tandon there at the bottom right, the CEO of this company, he's actually one of our representatives. Interesting story. He came on board as one of our representatives about 5 months ago, and he started to do PGX testing with his doctors. He set up 3 doctors, and over the last 5 months, ladies and gentlemen, he's earned very significant income. Last month, his income was $19,000 from those same 3 doctors. And they didn't send in thousands and thousands. They sent in about 200 tests. Thus far, about 95 were paid for last month, and his commission was $19,000. So as I got to know him, I asked him, what does he do? He says, Sunil, we have a niche market. We help doctors bring back money into their practice from what is called insurance accounts receivable. And as I found out his background, that he came from Ernst & Young and worked with multi-billion-dollar companies, and he'd been around now for 15 years with 6 offices and 60 full-time employees and 20 part-time employees with clients all over the country. I asked him to drill down and share with me his niche market. And it became just so interesting to us that we partnered up, because it's very significant for the doctors and you, as you'll see in just a moment. So, ladies and gentlemen, as Cash has shared with us, 100% of the practices out there have this very serious issue, which is almost on a crisis level, as he says. Because what happens in today's world, the doctor's billing company bills insurance companies and Medicare, etc., but they're very quickly able to recover about 70%, but 30% of it, for whatever reasons, are denied or they cannot collect on. And because that work is so tedious and labor-intensive, their current billing companies move on to the next month's billing and collect the 70%, and move on to the next month, collect the 70%, and this 30% continues to pile up and becomes tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and as I'll share a story with you in a moment, millions of dollars of accounts receivables. And so we created an amazing business model, and we made some very nice tweaks, if you will, to his current business model. You see, currently he would go into a doctor and say, hey, doc, you got accounts receivable. Allow me to do a report to show you exactly why your current billing company has failed you. And he charged an upfront fee anywhere from $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $7,000, $10,000, depending on the size of the account. Well, because we want to take over this space on a national basis, we came up with a model where you and I can go to the doctor and say the same thing, but charge him nothing upfront, 0 upfront cost for Cash to do what is called a detailed sample report, which we call it the WOW report. Why is it called the WOW report? Well, the doctor is going to be wowed when he gets that report within 48 to 72 hours, and you'll see why his accounts are piling up. What happens from that point is the doctor, of course, wants the full comprehensive report done. And there certainly is a fee for that, which I'll share with you in a moment. But your responsibility in this very simple program is to simply get the doctor's interest. We created an amazing 3.5-minute video, actually from a COO of an orthopedic group that actually had, listen to this, $3 million in accounts receivables. That practice, of course, engaged with business advisors, and they were so pleased with what they did for them that COO was willing to do this 3.5-minute video. It's very compelling. If a doctor watches this video, they absolutely would be nuts, frankly, not to take up our business offer to them, and that is a no-cost wow report that they'll get in 48 to 72 hours. You'll set an appointment. You will not engage in any discussions as a representative. Your job is simply to show that 3.5-minute video, set an appointment, and that's it. You're done. Now, what happens in this phase 1 is that the doctor, after seeing that wow report, is going to want the full report. Now, that does come with a price. It's very minimal. Generally, for one doctor practice, is about $3,000 to $4,000. But he does not charge any more than $15,000 at the very high end. So in this example, 3-doctor practice that has $300,000 in accounts receivable, he'll charge $15,000. If the practice is a 10-doctor practice with $3 million, he'll charge $15,000, and you get the point. The most the doctor will pay is $15,000 for this very comprehensive report. For this, your commission is $5,000. It's based on a percentage, as you can see on the left side, 33% of whatever the fee is. So if the fee is $7,500, your commission will be $2,500. Now you'll get paid this within 30 to 45 days generally is your commission. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is not where the big money is. This is just simply a hook, because we do want the client, the doctor, on an ongoing basis. Now, 9 out of 10 times when the doctor goes to the phase 1, they want to go to phase 2. What's phase 2? Well, the ongoing monthly billing. Think about this. Why in the world would a doctor want to stick around with their current company that has dropped the ball on them? So in this example, that 3-doctor practice normally has about $3 million in annual billing, for which your commission is $15,000. By the way, this is annually paid to you, meaning every year that the doctor remains on board and the 98% retention rate is what they've experienced, you as a rep gets paid on an ongoing basis. And let me be very clear here on 2 points. Number one, this $15,000 is paid to you on a monthly basis. Annually it becomes $15,000, and you're paid this every month on an ongoing basis forever, because this is your client. Second most important question or point here is if this was a 3-doctor practice that is doing $6 million, your annual commission would be $30,000. And of course, if you're building a team, you're earning some very significant overrides by your team going out there and setting up doctors. Now, here's another very, very important point. Again, as I mentioned earlier, doctors are looking for incidental revenues, ancillary incomes. And so the doctor can actually participate in this. Trust me when I tell you that when business advisors is doing this for them, they're going to want to tell other doctors that they're connected with. So your Dr. Bob tells Dr. Joe, and Dr. Joe now becomes a client of business advisors, while Dr. Bob can earn the significant income that we just talked about. You, of course, are still taken care of because you're earning overrides. Doctors will be all over this business model. So again, you're just talking to a doctor very briefly, without any details, show them the video, set an appointment, and you're done. We have trainers all over the country. We've got about 120 trainers. Just show you a very quick picture, not of all 120, of course. But if you also become a trainer, we will highlight you where you can help some of our people out there in the marketplace that may need your assistance, and you also earn significant dollars by becoming a CT. In closing our call, ladies and gentlemen, it's $199.95 for you to join our company. It's a processing fee. And this allows you to market the PGX, the toxicology, the AWV, the business program that we just talked about, and other halos that we really didn't focus in on.